And this time,
Everybody on you. Look around, everybody on you. I want you to sing my name. I know a lot of you don't know me. My name is Lëbo. It's very simple. This is what you say. Lëbo, Lëbo, Lëbo.
welcome to Lights on Lëbo. Now this is a show which shines a spotlight on the culture. Anyone that you should know already know. Now superstars, Victoria's Secret is officially back, Pink lights, sparkles, and the wings, the whole shebang, Honestly, after watching that show, I will be taking Yolanda Hadid's advice and eating half a nut, for dinner.
Hi, Mommy. How are you?
I'm okay. I just woke up. How are you?
I'm feeling really weak. I have like half an almond.
I have a couple of almonds. Chew them really well because your stomach is not.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, love you.
Okay.
Because wow, those bodies, But this time, it was a little different, They promised us inclusivity, And, let's just say people had thoughts, People had feelings surrounding that, Some people were like, we embrace this new era, We love this new era. But other people were like, no, we want the bodies back. We want the unattainable bodies, Like, bring back that, I watched the show, I took some notes and I have some thoughts of my own, So let us, get into it. First of all, we need to talk about the whole aesthetic because everything was very pink. We even have some pink on, pink on pink, everything in sync. But we had the whole, thing, and that intro, you could literally smell the perfume through the screen, But what stood out to me the most was the range, We had actors, we had content creators, and we even had athletes, Reese was there. Yes, the basketball star, and I loved that, I really loved that. They're clearly trying to say, that Victoria's Secret is for everyone now, for all genders, all pronouns, all everyone, it's giving Fenty Beauty, but even Alton Mason came to watch, he looked so pretty, like a literal doll, Sarah Jessica Parker was there too, and it's so iconic because, I swear Carrie Bradshaw would have loved to watch, Victoria's Secret, she'd be sitting front row with her martini and a great pair of shoes, Carrie and those great pairs of shoes. She even couldn't afford her house because of those shoes.
With no man in sight, I decided to rescue my ankles from a life of boredom by purchasing too many pairs of Jimmy Choo shoes.
Then there's Jodie Turner-Smith. Laura said that she was naked but classy naked, and he wasn't lying at all. She ate that pink carpet up. But speaking of Laura, a lot of people weren't feeling his presence on that pink carpet, They were really clowning him for his presenting skills, I guess. Or I don't know what was happening, But a lot of people were just not feeling him, on that pink carpet, And tell me what you guys think, after seeing these clips.
And we from the same place.
The Bronx?
The world.
All right now.
Listen.
I love you. To you.
Now, we had 4 performances. We had Madison Beer opening the show. Then we had Twice for Pink. But then we also had Karol G. And I want to stop at Karol G because, she had this whole dramatic pose at the end of her performance. But then, something was missing. The elevators. Victoria's Secret, done away with the elevators, and we need those back, because it would have been so iconic to have her, pose and then, be lifted down by an elevator. I'm trying to look for a better word, but I can't. But yes, that would have been so iconic. But then we also had Missy Elliot close the show, the iconic Missy Elliot, there's one and only Missy Misdemeanor Elliot, So we had her close the show, But let's get into the stars, the stars who walked the runway. Oh, wait, before I get into the stars, I want to talk about the song choices, I need the DJ to get a raise because, those song choices, it wasn't just, fantasy, it was cinematic, they were just selling this whole cinematic thing, the cinematic experience, those song choices and the transitions and everything else. Nah, that DJ needs to get a raise. Now, this was Alex Consani's second Victoria's Secret show, and she stated that for preparation, she did 1 session of Pilates. But with a body like that, I don't even think she needed that session, Like, she didn't need to prepare at all, But we also saw Quinlan Blackwell, walk the runway, and I guess she's made it in life, She is such a phenomenon, you know. She is, you know, this whole star now, you know, like walking for Victoria's Secret. Like, she's just made it. She's made it. But we also saw Bella Hadid walk, you know, and I want to talk about Bella Hadid because, you know, they gave it these 60-pound wings, you know, 60 pounds, you know, that's 2 kgs over half of my weight, you know. But, you know, there were a bit of a struggle for her, you know, because knowing that she's just out of the hospital recently, you know, because of Lyme disease and everything, you know, like she just looked like, you know, those wings were just weighing her down, you know, her walk just looked, you know, it wasn't like her, you know. It wasn't like Bella Hadid, because we know Bella Hadid, you know. And she just looked so out of breath, and you know, yeah, it was, you know, I just need her to recover. But you know, this shows dedication, you know, like she just showed, you know, that, you know, like she will, you know, pull through even if she's sick and everything, you know. So you need to give my girl a raise, you know. But now Kendall Jenner was missing. A lot of people noticed that Kendall Jenner was missing, you know. But we did see her walk, you know, at Paris Fashion Week, you know. Check my other video if, you know, you want to see all about that, you know. But, you know, maybe that is the reason why, you know, she was missing. Now here's where it gets complicated. While some people are praising the show, other people are saying that Victoria's Secret isn't Victoria's Secret anymore. I saw a lot of people saying that the angels are supposed to have unattainable bodies. That's the whole point, you know. And I get that. I get that the old Victoria's Secret shows were built on this whole fantasy, you know, the giant wings, you know, the perfect bodies and the impossible glamour. But that whole show, you know, that whole fantasy came with a lot of body image issues. It came with a lot of eating disorders and, you know, pressure, you know. So, you know, maybe it's a good thing, you know, that they are evolving the fantasy a little bit more, you know. That said, inclusivity wasn't perfect. A lot of critics pointed out that the curvier models and the plus-size girls were styled way more covered up. Some called it tokenism, where Victoria's Secret was just checking boxes for inclusivity, but were not really changing the power dynamic. And it really gives to the tension, you know, fantasy versus reality, because we know the old Victoria's Secret, they had identity, you know, we knew what they stood for, even if, you know, they excluded, you know, a whole lot of people. But right now, this new Victoria's Secret, it's a step in the right direction, you know. But we don't know what Victoria's Secret stands for anymore, you know. We don't know what, you know, they are pushing, you know. Is it about sex appeal, empowerment, or diversity? Maybe all three? Because if you're going to mix all three, then you're going to have to be authentic about it. Because real inclusivity doesn't just mean showing off different kinds of bodies. It means, you know, celebrating them equally. It means, you know, styling them the same way, giving them the same wings, you know, giving them the same spotlight and the same sparkle. Honestly, I think that the comeback was good, not great. The fantasy is still there, just more softer and more, you know, self-aware. And I don't think the whole inclusivity thing ruins the whole fantasy. You know, I think it actually expands it. And a lot of people are saying, you know, that they miss the unattainable bodies. But I just feel like, you know, that just speaks to how, you know, we've been taught to see what's beautiful. And I would love to see, you know, a brand rebuild itself, you know, even clumsily, and still stay stuck in the past, you know, pretending that it's 2005. So yes, superstars, Victoria's Secret is back and it's trying to heal its image one pink thread at a time. They've got work to do, but I'll give them this. They are evolving. Lights on, angels. Mwah.